What's up, War Report family? It's your boy BWil, back with another edition of Betting with BWil. But before we get into today's content, you got to make sure you're going to our sponsor, BUSR.com. They got everything you need from sportsbook to casino and everything in between. So go there, BUSR.com/report. That's BUSR.com/RAPPORT. We want you to go there to make your bets with us, and we want them to know that we sent you. All right, let's get into it. What's up, War Report family? We're back again with the third edition of the preseason primer, Betting with BWil. Hope everybody's enjoyed the first two sessions. It's been informative, as I'm hearing from everybody in the comments, and we want to give you just a little bit more information to equip you with what you'll need to take on our betting strategy once the season starts in just a week. Is that not amazing? So we made it, man. We made it. Remember, we already have a healthy understanding of what our straight bet values are, what our money line means, what our point totals are, and also maybe about how things can change short notice. So what we're going to go over today are parlays, a simple strategy and tool that sportsbooks allow you to use to multiply your money quickly, which is going to be great for us when we don't want to have to put gobs of money down to make gobs of money. But there are some things we need to know and understand before we take them on, as well as some other rules and maybe some hidden things in sportsbooks that may confuse you and nullify your payouts, and we do not want that. You make some good bets, we want you to be able to get paid, and we don't want anything getting in the way, so I'll tell you what to look out for. All right, so once again, I got my man Ike Jones with me. What it do, man?
You know what it is. I'm just up in here doing the thing with the thing.
All right, well, with them $2 you got.
That's right.
Finally, we're going to get them $2 working hard, because parlays is how we turn those $2 into big money relatively quickly. Ready?
I'm interested.
So, for those of you who weren't aware, here at the War Report, we have our betting sponsor, BUSR, and I want to show you how you get to their site from our YouTube homepage. If you're on the War Report homepage, you're going to jump in here and you're going to go to the About section. Scroll down just a little bit, you'll see BUSR link right there. Once you click, you open that up, you know you're on our page. Look at that nice War Report logo right there. Beautiful, right? Of course it is. Let's bet right now. If you haven't signed up for the site, this is where you would sign up, but we're already in there, so we're just going to log in. All right, BWil, you know how I do. I'm in here, logging in, and this is the landing page. Now, ignore the fact that you see 0 ducats up in the right-hand corner. We're going to get all that going shortly. I may have placed some bets in other places beforehand, because every bet I tell you that I've placed, I have actually placed it. Real money. We are not playing games with the War Report. But for right now, we're going to go to Bet Sports. All right. Now that the Bet Sports page is up, you can see here they show you what the most popular sports and bets are currently, and that's a NFL preseason game and a baseball game, but we don't care about any of that stuff. We want to know what the NCAA football is looking like. You can go here and it will show you a whole bunch, but we want to see NCAA football lines. It will give you what's available right now for you to bet, and that is what we want. So we are fortunate this week to have some real college football games to bet on, and that was not the case last week if we wanted to run this thing here. We already know what our straight bet values are. That's that plus or minus, and usually it's -110. That's our standard bet value. If we're just betting one thing, 110 is what you're betting. I have no idea who's what with Connecticut and Fresno State. This is just as an example, but to get home the point that we were talking about, $110 bet, if I wanted to bet that, I would win $100, and that puts $210 total into my pocket if I make this bet and it hits. So for whoever's Connecticut, Fresno State, again, no idea about either one of these teams, do not care, but if I bet $110 on a standard bet value of -110, I win 100, and I've got 210 coming back to me. So, Ike, we good so far?
So far, I understand, man. So, I can do the math on what my $2 would get me on that bet. But I would absolutely not place that bet because, like you said, I don't know anything about those tips.
Right. We don't want to make bets about teams or any games where we aren't informed on the teams playing and what they've got going on. But today we are focused on one thing specifically, and that is parlays. Parlays are this. If you wanted to make, more than just that standard bet value, which works out to be just under 91% return, you can do a couple things to multiply your money. The easiest way is parlays. For this example, we're not going to worry about what the picks I'm making are. Completely ignore the picks that I'm making. What we're concerned about is how many of these values and these picks we can get on the same ticket, because something very interesting happens once we start putting these together. Let's say I'm going to pick Nebraska to beat Illinois by 6.5 points. Now, under those conditions, they would have to actually win by 7 points to win that bet. If they just win by 6, they lose that bet. And because it's a half-point bet, there is no push, no way for that to cancel. They either win with a 7-point win or lose with a 6-point win. As you can see right here, let's say I'm going to take, we see our value there is actually shifted to negative 115. Now, what does that mean? Negative 115 means that people have bet Nebraska. Either the line started at 6.5 with a standard value of negative 110, and people bet Nebraska harder and harder. So instead of immediately going from negative 6.5 up to negative 7, the in-between movement is that bet starts to have less value than it did before. So if negative 110, which is a 91% return, was the value, if everybody starts betting Nebraska negative 6.5, Nebraska negative 6.5, it goes to 115. Then it goes to negative 120. And that payout starts to drop and drop and drop. And eventually it will just push up to negative 7. And then the value will reset at negative 110. So it's kind of the small increment of movement before the actual line value itself starts to move out.
Interesting.
Yep. So depending on how much movement, and again, this is based on how much money is getting put down on these games across all sports books. All the sports books report what the activity is. You can actually find a couple apps to help you track it. And that's when you'll see these values start to move in different directions. So for our purposes, $10 is what we're going to place over there. And as you can see, that's not the 91% return. That's an 87% return on your money, because this shifted from negative 110 to negative 115. But we need more than an 87% return. All right. So we're going to put a second bet on our ticket. Now, 2 bets close to the same value. It's not quite the same as 2 standard value bets at negative 110, but we're going to work with this for now. That same $10 now gets me $25.69. Standard rule is that 1 bet, of course, is whatever that standard value is. 2 bets is whatever your bet is by roughly 2.5. So $10 turns into $25 under these conditions. A third bet takes your money and doubles roughly what it just was. Every bet from here doubles your money again. And we could keep doing this in perpetuity, and we would keep getting another doubling, roughly, of our bet. Now, as you can imagine, with as many games that get played on a college football weekend, there is the potential for some serious cash to be made. If we know that every additional pick we put on a parlay doubles our money after the third parlay line that we put on there is some serious temptation to just throw picks at your bet slip and hope that something comes through. A lot of people do that. If you ever see these, hey, here's a story about a guy who won $150,000 betting NFL this weekend, it's usually a $50 parlay where he had like 10 picks go crazy and they all hit, and it's a wonderful story. It's not the best strategy because it, of course, lengthens your odds the more picks you put on that game. These things aren't controlled. Something could go wrong with anything. You could be sure of one thing, and the one thing that you could be the most sure of out of a 6-7 pick parlay could be the thing that fails you. So very short chances, but of course we don't have to do that many picks. That's not what we're going to do. Here at the War Report, our betting strategy, and we'll get more into this next week, is going to be more about controlled parlay picks in small numbers. We can find 1, 2, and 3 things that we really like. Absolutely, we can. And that's what we'll try to focus on as we group our picks, whether they're 3 picks, 6 picks, or even 10 picks, because remember, we're picking all the SEC games if you're an insider. You will see that we are going to stay with roughly 3 picks per parlay ticket, just in case any one of our picks goes sour. It doesn't spoil every ticket that we have. We're going to make multiple tickets, we're going to use multiple picks, and we're going to make sure to mix it up so that we have the best chances of multiplying our money and getting up on the weekend so we can go into next weekend with more money to bet and continue the roll as we roll through the college football season.
Interesting. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
All right. So let's just say we have this 3-pick parlay that's going on right here. Mm-hmm. There's no opportunity for a push in a parlay.
In a parlay, if there is ever a push, which can happen, these 3 picks are all 0.5, so those can't push. But let me throw UTEP by 10 up here. So now we've got UTEP by 10. If UTEP were to win their game by 10 points, it cancels this game. It does not cancel the ticket. Under normal circumstances, every bet has to be won for a parlay to win. So if I bet $10 on this ticket, if Nebraska wins by at least 7, Connecticut loses but by no more than 27 points, Hawaii loses but by no more than 17 points, and UTEP wins by at least 11 points, I win $120. For my $10 bet, I would pocket $130.08 once all the games have finished and been tallied. However, if UTEP were to win this game by only 10 points, my parlay is not canceled because that is a push, it's not a loss. Only a loss cancels your ticket. What happens then is it goes from a 4 parlay value to back down to a 3 parlay value. So it's as if you never bet UTEP minus 10 at all.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, because I was like, man, that would suck if you got to push on one of them and it cancels your entire situation.
Right, that would suck.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Canceling that one bet is not as risky a proposition, I guess. So, all right, cool. I'm with it.
So it's a little easier to swallow when you drop, your ticket gets cut in half because one ticket pushed rather than the entire ticket gets, ended because you took a loss. So,
yeah. Okay.
All right, so we got parlays. Let's talk about teasers for a moment. A teaser is when the sportsbook gives you an additional 6 points of cushion for whatever the picks were that you put on your parlay. You need at least 3 picks to make a teaser, but as you can see here, Nebraska's favored by 6.5. Connecticut is giving up 27.5, Hawaii 17.5, UTEP 10. If I go over to a teaser ticket of the exact same picks, everything shifts by 6 in the favor of the direction where you were betting it. So if you thought Nebraska was going to win by 6.5, now the spread is only a half point for Nebraska. If you thought Connecticut was going to lose by 27.5, well, now they've got 33 points of cushion instead of just 27. Same thing for Hawaii. And as you can see, UTEP went from a 10-point favorite or needing to win by 11 to a 4-point favorite where a betting win would have them needing to win the game by only 5 points. The downside to teasers, the money drops off considerably. That same $10 got us a $120 payout on the parlay side, but on the teaser side, just 23.5. That's the same as 2 straight up parlay picks. Actually, 2 straight up parlay picks is better payout than 4 teasers. I personally do not like teasers. And the reason I don't like teasers is because there's always a game. I guarantee you there's always a game that you bet in one direction and then it goes drastically the other direction. It's not just that the game that you lost it because you needed a team to win by 3 and they won by 2. No. It's never a close call when teasers go wrong. It's that the team that you needed to win by 2 ended up losing by 15. And that teaser that you just lost, honestly, there was no greater benefit to that than if you had just bet many fewer teams, safer picks, excluded some of those teaser picks that ended up going sour, and just bet the same amount of money on fewer picks on a parlay. That's what I do. And for those reasons, our betting strategy here at the War Report will never be including teasers. They are dangerous. They are fool's gold. Don't trust the tease.
So in this instance, you're saying if you're going to bet 4 anyway and you have the opportunity to lose, you might as well just go for the full amount and bet big as far as like your return is concerned. Like even though you have a better chance of winning with the teasers giving you additional points, if there's a chance that you're going to lose, you might as well go for the gusto.
Right. And because there's always a chance to lose, go for the gusto. We are going to place relatively not safe bets because there's no such thing as a safe bet, really. But we're going to break up our bets in a way where we're not putting everything on a single parlay or a single pick. So that mitigates some of the risk right there. The risk that you takes away some risk betting teasers, but the payout is so low and the risk is still high considering that this is sports, man. Anything can happen. Let's not risk or let's not assume that, hey, maybe if they can't cover by 7, they can cover by just 3. Yeah, or they don't cover it all because they're bad and we got bad info. We expected too much of this team. And now it went so far the other way that same $10 that you bet, including that team, is no longer on the books. So we don't worry about it. I don't personally worry about it. If anybody out there likes teasers, more power to you. We will not be using them as a part of our strategy here at the War Report. So that's parlays. Now, as you know, we are partnered with BUSR. That's where we do our betting action, and we encourage you to do so as well there. But maybe you're in a different sports book, right? So we want you to know a few things you should look out for when making deposits and taking advantage of their bonuses for any deposits that you make, because those have some fine print that may determine what you can do with your money if you win it. That's something you should want to know.
I definitely would want to know.
So when you make a deposit, there's usually an offer for something called free play or free cash or just a 25% bonus, 50% bonus. Hey, beginning of the football season, 100% bonus, right? Well, this is something that's subject to what sportsbooks like to call rollover. The higher the rollover, the less beneficial that bonus is. Here's how rollovers work. Whatever amount you decide to deposit, let's say $100, right? Let's say there's a 50% bonus or free play included in the deal if you use a free code or deposit it this time, whatever it is. Now, that's a grand total of 100 plus 50. That's $150 that you have total available to use in your account. Now, down somewhere in the fine print, you're going to see the word rollover. It may be 5 times rollover, 8 times rollover, 10 times rollover. I've seen a rollover that said 20 times rollover. And here's what you need to know about that. Let's say you take that $100 that you first got and you make some bets. It didn't work out. You're out, right? Well, you got that $50 left. Cool. You place those $50 on something and you win. Let's say you placed what we just talked about, a 2-pick parlay, $50 times 2.5. So you won $125. Awesome. Maybe you say, hey, you know what? That was fun. I just want to take that money out. I'm not too concerned about that. Not so fast. You cannot withdraw any money from this account until you have completed the rollover. If it's a 10 times rollover, that $150 that you just won, the $125 that you just won, and the $50 that came back to you for a grand total of $175 in your account, you cannot touch it until you have bet $1,500. Wagered to lose $1,500. A 10 times rollover, 150 times 10, $1,500. You need to wager $1,500, as in risking lose it on bets, before you can withdraw your money. Why do they do that? Well, because it's guaranteed that you keep risking that money and risk losing it every time you put it back out there. So if the result of your wager that won your first bet is not an astronaut, astronomically large sum, you can't take it out. And that's why I avoid rollovers. Now, for my purposes and our purposes, we aren't doing this just for a quick fix. We're going to put some money in. We want to let it roll over the course of the season. So we expect to be placing $100, $150, maybe even $200 worth of betting each week of the season over a very long time. A 5 times rollover on $100 with a $50 bonus is not going to kill us, because that's $650 total or something like that. That was quick math. Don't hold it against me. And we are going to have that amount betting constantly. We're going to keep moving it, keep churning it. But if you're just betting $100 to win 100 and you want to take it out, check that rollover, man. That rollover may be way too much to even be worth it. So just place your bet. Say, no thanks. I don't want the bonus. I don't want the free play. I'm happy to just put the $100 I have in here, place the bet, and have the freedom to withdraw whatever I just won. To show you what that looks like on BUSR's website, we're right here. That's where we were at, making our bets. You would go to deposit now, right? Now, when you make the deposit with whatever form of payment you want to make it with, you got some options up here. A 100% free play bonus. Yeah, but that comes with a 10 times rollover. No, thank you. A 50% member sportsbook bonus. 5 times rollover, much more palatable. I like that option. I would never do a 10 times rollover. It's just not advisable. 20% is for cash if you want to use it not only at the sportsbook but anywhere else on the site. Again, 5 times rollover. I like that number. Much more manageable. That's the option I would go with. Well, that's it for our third primer, Betting with BWil. We're glad you came in with us. Hopefully you learned something. Next week, you know what we're going to get into? Research, strategy, things we got to have if we're going to bet responsibly. And we finally get to kick off the first week of the 2021 college football season. Yeah. Ike's going to put them $2 to work, and we are going to start our college football betting here at the War Report. So, for everything betting, make sure you hit up our partner BUSR, and as usual, War Eagle.
War Eagle.